Hi, it's Wednesday, the 19th of August, and I'm gonna do a quick recap of the trades that I've taken today. So we open gapping down, and the first few minutes see some action that takes price from the 70s down to 50s, so 20-point move. It lasts a minute or two, and for the rest of the entirety of the pre-session, it goes up and it finds some resistance at some support at 63. When the session opens, it puts another push higher, and when it retraces a little bit, I decide to go long in view of all that we've done. Unfortunately, I didn't realize that we were pushing the 78, 77, which was the area where price started after it gapped down. And some heavy contracts print here pushing price down at 72, 77. So my long doesn't get stopped out. I bail out to the tick because the print goes against what my general direction would have been. Price, of course, retrace. I was too quick in getting out of the trade. It retraces and then it finds resistance at 77, 76, and this is the area where I identified there would have been resistance. So instead, I get in short, looking for at least a retest of 70, perhaps a push down to 67, which is previous support. Little did I know that here at 70, it would have found resistance to the upside, and this whole move was over. So instead of holding on, I take profits at 68, and this goes lower and lower and lower. This is a very fast move. Happened, look at this, 19, less than 1 minute, 1 minute exactly. It travels down 10 ticks. And when I see that kind of action, I want to join into the short, retraces it a little bit, tests lower, arrives 56, 57. When he starts retracing, a lot of prints start coming in. I see 300, 400, 500 contracts. So instead of waiting for a pullback and then to join again on the short, I just decided to bail out with one tick. It was a momentum trade. I was in to get whatever I could. Momentum trades are not my strongest suit, so I wasn't too disappointed in getting out with a scratch or with one tick. And it was fantastic. It was very good that I got out at that point, because from 60, 56, it finds support. It does higher and higher lows, and at this point I am looking at a wedge formation. So what we've done is we've broken a couple of supports points on the way down. We're testing this 64, 63. We're putting up higher lows. I was waiting for this breaks a little, then it retraces, and I was waiting for this to go higher and retest the 78. It doesn't happen. So I stay in this trade for a little bit, then he puts a lower high, and then when he starts putting a lower low, I bail out of this one as well. So my bias now flipped. I was expecting it to go higher. It's not doing that. This level of resistance on 60, 63, 64 is still, it's been chopped around a little bit because there was this was a value area in developing. It gets chopped around a little bit, and my bias flips and I want to get short. But since we don't immediately go for that short, I get scared and I bail out with one tick. This was a nice move that I was waiting to get. Could have held on to it, woulda, coulda, shoulda, doesn't matter. I join onto the short at this point. There's nothing here. There was really nothing else for price to stop. So I decide, well, let's ride this a little bit. I get a few ticks, and since I don't have a target, I just bail when the momentum fades. And this starts to be an area of chop. I was expecting this to continue lower, given the strength of this move down. It retraces more, so instead of waiting for more confirmation, I just wanted to get into this. This started to go lower, large prints. I get in low, I get in short at the tick, and I get stopped out. And then something happens, probably revenge trade. I'm surprised that this level still holds. So instead of waiting, I just go in long, thinking, oh well, this is going to retrace all the way up to the area where it broke out of, and I was wrong. I get stopped out. This could have been an area of chop. Instead, I see quite large prints coming in. I decide to get in long. There was 300 contracts, 350 contracts bought at 52 if I remember correctly. So I just decided to go with the flow, ride it for a little bit. Again, it doesn't put higher highs, so just get out with a scratch. This, incidentally, is the area where we actually broke out of. This was the 57, is an area that will come into play again and again. This was the area to look for, not this. I get in short, seeing that this is holding and expecting a retest of the low. We don't quite get it, but it's immediately clear from the action on the volume profile and the print that we were not going to get it. So I bail out, I bag a few ticks. Then we put up 1, 2, and 3 higher lows. We're putting up. This is a retest of that 57, really. But look at what we're doing now. My beloved triangles come into play. So we said that 57, 56, 57 was this area of interest, this area of resistance up above, right? Then we put in the low, and then this starts to look like a wedge. So when there is more support here, higher and higher, and this looks very thin, I just decide to get in with the long. So we break 1 tick higher, retrace, find support at this 54 again, the area where it broke out of from this little area of chop, and then we go higher. My target was at 63, which was the VWAP, the daily VWAP, and just 1 tick above or below, I don't remember, this must have changed, the volume point of control for the day. So I closed my day here. There's a total of 10 trades, 11 trades, which is developed in how many hours? From 11:30 up until 9 when I started looking at it. 2 hours and a half of trading, 11 trades. This is not bad at all. Previous days I was doing 20 trades in an hour and a half, which was counterproductive. The way that I achieved this is I had to sit on my hands almost literally. So I've read, trolling through the threads through BMT, you see there's a lot of stuff. Some of it is of psychological nature, and I'm a big believer in influencing one's mind and one's outlook of things through things that we do with our body. As in, smiling will actually make you happier even if you're not feeling happy thoughts. And sitting on your hands or sitting with I was actually sitting with my legs crossed. It gives me a little more patience, a little more time to see things through and think things through. I've also kept my hands easy just by toying with an object. I had a pen in my hands. I was clicking the cap up and down. And just the fact that I had to move my hand from the pen to the mouse cut down that half a second of hesitation, and I was able to look more closely at what price was doing and decide more effectively what my next trade would have been. I have put in a couple of trades that were just caused by impatience and indecision, flip-flopping short, long, in an area where there was very little happening, or at least in an area that was between two levels of resistance and support, and as I really shouldn't have touched. Still, this is working. It's positive. I closed on positive, doesn't matter, $110. Who gives a shit? The important thing is that I find something that works. I've waited for the longest time. I've traveled long, and I've I've read and I've researched, and finally I found a method that works for me. Now I gotta find a way to implement that method. I feel this is a continuous research. Anyway, I'm closing early today. Tomorrow and the day after I will have another 2 days, hopefully trying to not force in, but to ease myself into the same method and the same forma mentis, the same view of the world, just sitting still and practicing patience, and just setting targets that make sense with stops that also do not exceed my maximum pain threshold, let's call it like that, and they are in tune with whatever the market is doing. This will, in the long run, will help me. So I close on a winner for 2 reasons. 1, I'm positive. I don't need to do any more else. 3 reasons actually. 2, I'm starting to feel a little tired, and I don't want tiredness to get the best of me emotionally. And 3, I'm reading this thing from Kahneman, and he talks about mean reversion and behavior reverting to whatever the mean is. Now, my mean is, in the best of cases, a very slightly positive trader. So I'm not a consistently winning trader yet. I am just slightly better than breaking even. Getting out with a trade that backed me 8 ticks puts me in a fantastic state of mind for me to come back tomorrow morning and do more of the same. Just sitting still, calm and positive and focused. Again, sorry, this is probably boring the hell out of you. That's fine. This is just for me to focus on what worked and what didn't. Hopefully, I'll have more and more interesting thing from a price action point of view to show you tomorrow. As always, thanks for watching. Keep trading.